couple of weeks this series called Unraveling Key Challenges Men Face in Today's Society. And it has been very good each week. And I don't think this week is going to be any different. And as always, the problem, because we like to start off that way, I'm ready for my close up, Mr. Demir. As always, as always, we like to start off with the problem, right? Because the problem is when it comes down to some of the challenges that men face, they could be for a number of different reasons. Everybody has an opinion on what a man should be. Men provide and protect. Men have to make a certain amount of money. Men have to meet this particular standard. They got to be 6 feet tall, six pack, whatever the case may be. So everybody has an opinion about what a man needs to be or supposed to be other than men. And the issue is that can cause a lot of concern because you have to realize, just like everybody else, everybody is dealing with something. Everybody's trying to overcome their own particular issues, their own particular concerns. And a lot of them come from the way that we were raised, just being honest. And it's not that our parents are bad people. It's just that the things they didn't know, they just didn't know. So they couldn't give you those things that you didn't know. Therefore, as these men, as we as men got older, we had to learn on our own. And sometimes that came through experiences, happenstance, and sometimes just education. And so that's what this is all about. And that's one of the main reasons why we've created the Empowering Perspective program, right? Because the Empowering Perspective membership program is all about helping us get to our highest form of existence, right? How do you get to the point where you actually start living in the highest of your potential? How do you get to the point where you start overcoming adversity and just kind of brush it off like water off a duck back? Well, that's what the Empowering Perspective membership program is all about. Teaching you certain things, techniques, skills, so forth and so on that you can actively employ in your life so that you can think, feel, and choose better, right? So that takes us to where we are this week. Now, the past couple of weeks, we kind of went over some things. We talked about, let me see, Roland kind of talked about, what was it? The results of experiencing negative relationships. And then my younger brother, Chris, last week, we talked about disenfranchised parents. And because we're men, we kind of focus our energy on fathers. And this week, we're going to focus our energy on the elusive search for peace amidst modern struggles for men. Now, this one was selected by our brother Tawami Gaddis. So, as always, we like to kind of dive into the mind of the person who chose the topic. So, this is the point where we turn it over to the available man so he can kind of enlighten us on why he chose this topic and where he wants to go with it.
Man, Coach, I swear, every time I speak anywhere, I want you to speak first, and because I feel like I sound educated and well renowned after after you speak. But on a serious note, when it comes to this topic, for me, you kind of hit on it when you talk about everyone has an opinion on what a man should be, and one of the things that really comes to mind for me or deals heavily with me is the mental toughness that is expected of men. You know, I think back on my life, I was always expected to be mentally tough, from my grandmother passing to my parents splitting to my sister passing to my best friend getting passing to my mother and I'm just always supposed to be tough. But the problem comes in is when I try to go find me a place of solace and a place just to collect myself, to find my find my peace from within myself, to put it all together is sometimes it somehow becomes a problem. The world looks at that as, oh, you're becoming weak. Oh, you just need to man up. You just need to toughen through it. You just need to deal with, you a man, ain't you? And the way that men are able to deal with all the turmoil, all the toils of life, sometimes it's being able to come home and find some peace, either in my office, in my man cave, wherever that peace may be. I need to be able to have that space. And oftentimes men run into a lot of resistance when they try to create their own place of peace and their own space. That's why I chose this topic.
I like it. I like it. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts based upon what Brother Gaddy just said, or what do you want to add to what he actually stated just now?
I just appreciate the acknowledging that men can actually go through things and have struggles and still be considered men and not have to be considered soft and things like that, because we understand that life is against us and certain people are against us, but when we come home, when we're in the bosom of our spouse or mate or whatever you want to call it, we don't want to feel like we're in another fight.
The fact that he even acknowledged the fact that we need a place of peace means something. You understand what I'm saying? Because like he said, man, we've just been taught to deal with stuff, and if we don't deal with it, then we're weak or we're soft. You understand what I'm saying? So acknowledging that is a big deal.
I agree. And I like the way you kind of set the conditions. And thank you for sharing your experience with us to kind of help us to understand your quote unquote peace journey. I think also when it comes down to, us as men, it has a lot to do with our upbringing. Boys don't cry, get up, dust it off, stop crying, stuff like that. And so that has a way to kind of follow us into our adulthood. And unfortunately, we get to the space to where we start having relationships with the opposite sex, and unfortunately you want me to be expressive, you want me to be emotional, you want me to be this particular type of way, but I have this conditioning that says stop crying, get up, brush it off. You know what I'm saying? You got to be tough. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be a protector and provider. You can't be walking around here crying and putting your emotions on your sleeve. So it kind of creates it kind of creates some unexpressed anxiety within most men when it comes down to this. So I like the fact that you brought it to the table. And I'm looking forward to diving into this a little bit deeper, but I also want to make sure I'm acknowledging some other people as well before we dive into it. So, Brother Christian Barrow, man, good to see you as always, and welcome to the show. We know that you're going to hit us with that hot fire question, so we waiting on it. Dial line, dial line, dial line, right? All right, Miss Teresa Austin, good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Be safe out there at the football game. Ms. Verlene McCoy, as always, aka Queen V, good to see you. Michael R. Hayes, my brother, good to see you again, man. It's been a while. Welcome back. It's always good to have you here. And somebody on Facebook, I got to jump over there and see who it is, but I get there. So let's kind of go ahead and dive into these questions real quick because I think these questions are going to start unpacking some things. And as we unpack it, like I really want to unpack it, I really want to get after it. So, first thing first, since we're talking about it, what does a space of peace mean to men?
I can only speak for what it means to me. A space of peace is a space where I can get away from everything and just recollect and gather myself so that way I can have the strength and the mental capacity to go back out there and fight some more. You understand what I'm saying? That would be where I would start.
See, I like that starting point. And so I just add to that because it for men, every person, it can look different, right? Uh I joke with my brother sometimes because he like to do laundry. I hate doing laundry, but that's peaceful for him. You know, for me, for some men, is watching the game. You know, for me, sometimes it's just sitting in my office, working on something, reading something, uh, watching something, just getting away, like Chris said, getting away from the noise sometimes. And sometimes it looks like being with Bay, being with your boo, being with your lady, being with your wife, whatever you got. Sometimes it looks like sitting up under her and chilling. Watch the game with me, Bay. Sometimes I say watch the game with me, not because I want you to like the game. I just want you near me. Cause that brings me peace.
And I think first you have to find the peace within, because if you always looking for it from outward sources or areas in the house, I'm going to my prayer closet, I'm going to sit in the car, you are going to find yourself lacking when you can't be in those areas. So that's why I always say meditation is a key factor for me, because I can take all those things that I'm looking at, that I'm focusing on, and I can just remove them from my mind. And now I'm in the space of peace where everything is just shut out, where I can just concentrate on things that are building, concentrate on things that are minimalistic when it comes to the get up and go of everyday life.
I like that. I like that. And I'm listening to your articulations as well as being observant to everything that everybody's saying as well. Um, and I also want to kind of add some other things to it. I think we have to, and I'm going to put this in the atmosphere because I think this is a good place to start. Um, a place, a space of peace in my mind means that in order for me to create this thing, in order for me to have a space of peace, there had to have been a deterrent, right? So in other words, for peace to exist, that means war was capable. I want to start there. We know it to be true because that's why the military exists. The military exists to fight wars, but because the military exists, it is there to deter war. Therefore, you can have peace. I think the same thing exists, right? We also have to understand within the concept of having peace, we also have the ability to go the other direction. We don't necessarily choose to go the other direction, but it is there. So, being that being that we choose peace, that means everything around us cannot be in chaos. I think that's the other thing that we have to realize. And I don't know how you guys was like when I was married. I used to hate a whole bunch of noise, right? A whole bunch of noise going on in the house used to drive me bananas. It literally got on my nerves. So ideally, I can't have chaos and claim I have peace within the space that chaos exists. So chaos has to leave. For me, a whole bunch of noise got to leave, right? There has to be some type of decently and orderly behavior that exists within my space so that peace can exist. So for me, that's where I want to start by saying a space of peace. Because again, going back to it, if chaos is there, then that means now I have to go and assume a different posture. And that is okay, you want to go there, that means now I'm going to have to pull out the potential of war. But once we find that happy medium, then I can go back to peace. My thoughts. You're muted, bro.
I used to be in what most would consider a space of chaos, a chaotic environment. When I was a single father, and I had 5 kids in the house, and it seemed like all 5 kids wanted to be in my bedroom. And you got back then, I had one cell phone and 2 teenagers. I had one on the cell phone and one on the house phone and one TV. Yet everybody in this same space. And then I got a baby and I got a toddler and I got a one above that. And it's like we all in the same bed. And I'm sitting up there just loving life because I have peace because all of my babies are safe. I'm sitting here with all my seeds, and I can see them. Might be arguing and all that other stuff, but I think the togetherness is what brought the peace for me. Not just everybody they arguing over the phone and over the loud TV. Who gonna watch Blues Clues or whatever? It was peaceful for me because of the people that were sharing it with me.
So in other words, what I'm hearing you say is that you rose above the noise.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
I definitely find peace, especially when all my kids are here and we're all together. We're sitting in the living room watching TV. The whole family's together. That's definitely a peaceful place because the noise is not necessarily chaos, and I'm playing with words right now because it can be chaotic, but to me the noise is not necessarily chaos because my kid they're making a noise. I know that everybody's okay, like my mama used to say, when you get quiet is when I got to come check on you. But and so I do find peace in that, knowing that I can hear them scream, I can hear them bang. But there's moments when I turn into coach where I'm like, all right, now, if I hear one more foot over my head, I'm cutting everybody's toes off. Y'all can walk around here with nubs. Hey, I'm joking, but
He's joking. Yeah.
it's a joke. Yeah. But they get the point when I say it. And I do say that, don't get me wrong. I say that and they know I'm not finna cut their toes off, but they know they start tiptoeing upstairs. Because at that moment, it's a moment when I do need that quietness. Because it's a moment because I think it's disingenuous for us as men to pretend like there's not a lot of stuff going on up here, because we got stuff that's going on at work, and a lot of us would love to say, when I leave work, I leave that there. Sometimes it's some stuff you're not sure about that might arise. But then you worried about what's going on at home, the kids starting sports, you got to get equipment, you got to pay dues, you got to get this. My son's outgrowing his shoes, and so you and y'all could attest to this. Y'all got multiple kids. You got to think about all of that at once, and sometimes you just need to sit down and look at everything, and you need that quiet to just say, you know what, I need to put this in order, and I need to figure it out. I need a game plan, and y'all right now, y'all affecting that game plan.
And see, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but yeah, when all the other stuff is going on, I've been out in the world and done all this stuff over here. I done had to do all the stuff over here. And then I come home. I am coming home. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I'm coming home to the family, like I'm coming home to the family, I look forward to spending time with the family. But spending time with the family, like you said, that time you guys sit down and watch TV and relax and enjoy whatever. Like, we used to love to watch movies. So when a movie came on, bro, it's like you could hear a pin drop in the house. And to me, that was peaceful. But when you hear all kind of like, when my kids used to have friends over, you hear all kind of chaos sound like a circus. I'm going around the corner and say, hey, listen, I understand y'all I understand y'all having a good time, but y'all better tone it down. I'm gonna give you a warning. You better tone it down. Because again, I can't do all of that mixing up, because all of that mixing up prevents me from thinking. It prevents me from having complete thoughts, because in the midst of thinking, then this just happened. So now I got to go see to this. And then I'm thinking again, now this just happened. Now I got to go check on that. Because again, when they're around there making noises, when you hear something that sounds kind of, out of order, you got to go check, because somebody probably just got hurt. So now it's a lot of moving parts and a lot is going on. So that's just kind of like why I say that. And again, that's just me. That's just my way of doing it. And I'm still that way to this day, believe it or not. Want to kind of dive into chats real quick, because we got some key points that are being made. First and foremost, shout out to my boy Big Baby, aka Stephen Kyle. Good to see you, brother. That's who over there in Facebook lighting it up. So man, it's good to see you, brother. Let's see. Lisa Key says, asked a question. First of all, is peace interpreted how the individual find peace? I am mindful that our Father tells us, my peace I give unto you.
Yes, it is interpreted by the individual. My peace might not look like yours. Your peace might not look like mine. But at the end of the day, we still come out in a different mindset when we dive into that space. We still come out in the okay, I can go out and deal with the world again kind of space. It just might not look the same. So yes, I believe it is interpreted by the individual. The end goal is the end goal, though.
I don't think he's saying nothing.
I thought he was talking. My bad. Man, Lisa Keys, this is one of my favorite scriptures. Rolling to tell you, this scripture led me down a whirlwind of thoughts when it comes to scripture. Me and him was on the phone every day for like what, a year straight after that. And I called him about that very scripture. And I don't want to get it mixed up, right? There's definitely an inner peace that doesn't allow you to quit because the walk gets hard, right? And I think we have to recognize when when that statement is made, right? It's when he says, "My peace I give unto you," right? That that does not negate to me, right? My brothers could correct me if I'm wrong. That does not negate to me the fact that while we travel this world, even while we're on this walk and on this journey, we face chaos every day. Men are not always capable of laying everything down at a moment's notice to jump on something else. That thing still hangs on our back because it's something that we have to handle. It's something that you, the wife, expects of me, but I still got to take care of this. It's something that that the son expects of me, but I got to take care of this. And then daughter expects of me, but I got to take care of this. But it's not as if the stuff you expected and the son expected stops. All of that piles on sometimes. And so the peace we're talking about, right, is sometimes we have to be able to say, all right, I just need everything I need a place to where it feels like everything just stands still for a second. Or as Chris alluded to as well earlier, we go to war when we leave this house, right? Especially if you go into a workplace. There's some stuff that we deal with that, and I don't like to sugarcoat because people who like to pretend like this is not a reality. There's some things that are acceptable for women, and when it comes to behavior, when it comes to how to handle conflict. A woman gets disrespected on the job, she can go off. Man can't necessarily go off like that. And we can pretend like, no, she can't say nothing about, no, yeah, she can. I see it every day. And so sometimes we need to be able to drop that load, decompress, but we don't want to come home and come right into a fight. I think that's what Chris was alluding to. So with all of that going on, then we got to come home and go into a fight. It doesn't mean that the peace that Christ gives unto us disappeared, because I'm still fighting. But I also recognize that not only does he give me peace, but I also recognize that the Father gave us a Sabbath, a day of rest for a reason. We take that for granted. For the Sabbath, for the man was not made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath for the man. That's a time of rest for us as people. So just like we talk about, so this is kind of like the same avenue. I believe that I'm speaking from, I'll say.
I like the question. I think that, Gaddy, he went biblical, and I just, Coach always going to his favorite scripture. Mine would be James 1, and it's 1, but starting at 2, because everybody knows count it all joy. And then when they say count it all joy, when you fall into various temptations or trials or adversities, see, you can count it all joy, not because you know how to handle everything, but because in whatever situation, you can take it back to him and you can go to what he said to do to calm yourself down so that you can deal with it. And when you find friends, when you find confidants, when you find people that are in this walk with you, that when you're going through stuff, that like I can call any of these brothers and say, hey, I just need to bend your ear. I need to talk to you. That you can, because everybody say, well, talk to God, talk to Jesus, and all that other stuff. But sometimes I need somebody that feel like me. I need somebody that know what it's like, that I can talk to, that I know has stumbled, has walked this walk, and can say, bro, you just need to do such and such, or you can, just listen to me, or whatever it is. When I can find those people that are confident, it helps me walk in this peaceful state a little bit better, a little bit easier, because now I'm in the individual battle, but I realize that my individual battle, I'm just not an individual. I have a teammate with me that's able to give me advice, that give me encouragement, and give me some type of solace that I can say, man, I can actually have peace in this journey because Dwayne went through that. Or, he helped me in this journey. And so my individual battle is helped because I have individuals with me in battle.
Not only that, sometimes you just need somebody to listen and just shut up and listen. That's it. We don't listen, man, listen. And I'm speaking as a man. A lot of times we don't need you to solve all problems for us. Sometimes we just need you to sit and listen and hear what we got to say. And 9 times out of 10, we'll work it out as we talking about the problem. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we just need you to listen. That's it. Coach is really good at this. I remember the conversations we used to have. Coach, I talked to Coach and he would just say, okay, what do you think? He wouldn't give me no answer. He would say, what do you think? And he would allow me to work it out instead of trying to do it for me. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we just don't want you to talk at all. Like I've actually had this conversation where I was having a long day and I came home and the person that I was dating at the time was just using her privilege that she thought that she had because of the position that I gave her. And I just looked at her and I said, sweetheart, you have absolutely no idea how much I would love you if you just did not talk to me right now. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we need that. And it's not to be mean. It's just, I need the process.
So I'm gonna mix it up a little bit, right? Because I like perspectives. I am going to start off by saying, because I think the question she asked is peace interpreted how the individual find peace? I would say no, because some people find peace in chaos. They're not they're not content unless they are creating a dramatic situation. I would say when it comes down to peace, we must first understand what peace looks like, right? We need to understand what peace really is, not what your prior situation taught you, not what your upbringing taught you, not any of those things. You're going to have to move outside of that space so that you can have a clear understanding of what peace is. So to answer your question as it is asked, no. However, once you have a clear understanding of what peace is, and I like what these gentlemen said, once you have a clear understanding of peace, then your way of getting there, then I would say yes in that sense. Into the whole external and internal thing, absolutely, sure. That kind of goes back to the way I answered the question. So the internal chaos that I may experience because I have never found peace with a particular situation that I'm dealing with or have dealt with or have never dealt with. Well, that internal chaos can create external chaos. In fact, I always say it and I believe it to be 100% true. You are you are a contributor to the situation that you find yourself in some shape, form, or fashion. And if you are trying to render yourself completely innocent, the only person that you're lying to is yourself. So at some point, like again, I don't care if this person did 95% of it. If you did 5%, own your 5%. That's the piece. But what we like to do is focus our energy and efforts to talk about another person's 95%, or right, we'll talk about their 5% like it's 95%. So I think that's the thing that we have to understand when it comes down to peace. A lot of us have to get out of a chaotic mindset so that we can get into a more peaceful mindset so that we can create peaceful environments. Um, so great question. I think Michelle Ray, I think that's a question. So what I'm hearing you guys say so far is that your peace is where and how you create it. Uh, let me let the brothers handle that one first.
I think in the respect of what we were saying at the time, yes. And by saying yes, what I mean is we all can create our peaceful environment based on different things. You know, Sometimes it's peaceful for me to just turn on Madden or turn on 2K, sit down on the couch and go. You know, coach may not like Madden or 2K. He may not like video games, period. So as soon as he come to my house and I turn on a video game, that just stirs something up inside him. And he don't, because he don't like video. So what's peace to me can be turmoil for him. You know what I mean? So I think in that aspect of how we create our environment or our place, because I think the term place of peace triggers some people differently. But our peaceful environment, yeah, I think it's all dependent.
I think the peace is, for me, it's internal because I don't care what's going on around me. Because I'm not looking for peace over here or peace over there, or I gotta go fishing, or I gotta go get a drink. I gotta go. No, because I have it internally. So I think I'm a person where I'm chill 99% of the time. Even when I play sports, I'm chill because I'm thinking, I'm cerebral. So now I'm in a peaceful state at all times. And if I'm not, it's because something else is an antagonist outside and it shook me. And if something shakes me, it's more than just, oh, well, the light will get cut off on the first. Okay, that's not taking my peace because now I just say, okay, what I got to do? I got to maneuver to get this handled. See, this not throwing me off my peace because my peace is not like you take a pop bottle, soda, whatever, and you shake it up and it's all of a sudden, no, my peace is internal for me. So I don't have to make it up. I don't have to create it over here, then create it over there. And if I move, it's like, you put a bunch of pop rocks in your mouth and trying to drink a soda or something. No. So I think peace for me is exactly that. It's not determined by anything outward.
Can I challenge my brother real quick? Real quick. I'm sorry, Chris. So let me ask you this question though. So the lights get cut off, and you trying to figure out now what do I got to do to keep them from getting cut or get them cut back on soon enough so we don't lose food in the fridge or whatever the case may be. And that outside antagonist is just on your back. You sorry excuse for man. How dare you let it get? Oh, you should have been there. Oh, if you should have, and you trying to get it figured out, but instead somebody's in your face just going after you.
But one, if that's the case, I'm already behind the power curve because the lights off, and I knew it was time because they send you a grace period. That's that grace. They send you that grace period, letting you know they will be off by this day. So now I didn't do proper planning. So I could see where my peace was already messed up because of me, not because of that person. That person is up in arms because I'm supposed to be the responsible party and I'm supposed to be what I say I am. And I didn't necessarily put them in a position to have peace. And I think that's where, as fathers and husbands, we have so much on us where, especially those of us that take care of our business, where we will create things like that because I didn't call my brother and say, bro, I need $150 from all y'all. I need something from, because this is about to happen. If this happened, it's gonna be some hell in my house. It's gonna be some whatever. So whatever you can give, if you can give something.
I was about to say it.
Consequences and repercussions.
Yeah. So before this happens, where I got to go on the roof because I'm living in the house with her. I need this to happen. So now I'm utilizing those of us that call ourselves brothers, that call ourselves friends. I'm utilizing this before I get into that. And if that happens, that means I didn't use that. So it's my creation of the space that's not of peace right now.
You a better one than me. You are a better one than me. You want to cry about this notice that I got and call me out my name? Since we got this notice, maybe I just forgot about it. Shut up and pay it. If you're not gonna pay it, sit your ass down somewhere and shut up. Don't come yelling at me over something like this. Maybe I forgot. Who are you? Like, what is your problem? Like, no, I wouldn't even be with somebody like that. Like, cause I know me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not about to talk to me any kind of way because I made a mistake. Now, if it's a recurring mistake, like if I'm getting notices every month about this bill getting paid when I know it's due, okay, then you might have a little leeway in being upset because, like Roland said, I'm not being the responsible head of the household. But if it's something small like that and you got the nerve to call me a sorry what? Shut up. What is wrong with you? Get out my face. I'll cut him a check tonight. I forgot about it. But you're not about to talk to me any kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? No.
That's understandable. But I think how I look at it is, and I guess I even had to get to that point. Somebody has to be the responsible person in this. Was not about to be an argument, because I ain't about to argue about something that I got to do anyway. And I'm not about to argue about, the whole arguing phase, just ruffles my feathers. So I try not to do that. So in order for me not to do that, I walk away, but I'm still thinking I need to handle this problem. Her talking ain't even the problem. That's not the problem is the lights. Are the lights.
Right.
So I got to handle this. So I'm not even listening to this, because if we're going to say, when we want to look at things, we're going to say we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places and all this. I got to say, okay, I'm not fighting against her in the flesh. I'm fighting against this spirit. And this spirit right now wants to take me and move me off my square to where now we're combative and now we're arguing about some doggone lights that got to be taken care of anyway. And what's happening while we're arguing? Lights not getting cut off. So I got to
that's the
handle
thing.
problem.
We're not arguing about the lights getting cut on. At least I'm not. I'm arguing about how you talking to me. Shut up. Don't talk to me like that. I'm not your child. I made a mistake. You understand what I'm saying? And that's another thing. That's another modern struggle that men have in search for peace. We don't know what it looks like because we have been so used to taking abuse and thinking that taking abuse and not saying anything about said abuse is going to keep the peace. I'm going to tell you to shut up.
Yeah. So again, I go back to what I said before. You are transactional in that relationship. You have even if she talking to you sideways, like, I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say it. You knew who she was before y'all got into the house. So that's my point. Like, for whatever reason, somebody put the beer goggles on and say, okay, well, we can fix that, in due time. So I'm just going there. I think that kind of gets at the Christian's question, right? What if your spouse is an antagonist when you want peace? Well, again, if I selected a spouse that has an issue, right, and that internal issue, she is always creating chaos, then I never should have spoused her. That's the part that I want to make sure I'm stressing.
Take the L. Take the L. See, and that's the thing. I'm real big. I say that a lot because I'm real big on that. Like, if you know that this person is going to antagonize you over something this small, take the loss and get out of that, because she's going to disturb your peace, whether you find reasons to, whether you're responsible or not. If she's like a true antagonist, the way that Christian is describing her, you understand what I'm saying? Take the L, leave. Your peace is worth a whole lot more than hearing this woman cry and complain and constantly antagonize you all the time. Where are you going to have time for yourself to actually go out and fight the world? Take the L.
Yeah, so I think we addressed that enough. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. The lights are on back. The lights are back on now. So the next question is, how does societal expectation impact your ability to create such a space? Societal expectations.
I think I said it for me in the beginning. What I see from society, for the most part, when it comes to men, is that peace is weakness. That if you want some type of peace away from the chaos, you're weak. And so you supposed, like Chris said, you're supposed to take the abuse over and over and over again and never get a chance to decompress, never get a chance to collect yourself. You're just supposed to take it from all angles and just do. Ain't nothing going on. And you know, nobody can maintain that standard of living without getting a chance to collect themselves, without finding a place to where they can just sit and do whatever it is, watch your videos on your phone or surf TikTok or make videos or whatever it is, you know. But some people they expect for men not to want peace, and that and it sounds crazy, but I hear it every day. Oh, what do you need? That's what you're a man. You're supposed to do. Because you like to deal with chaos. Don't mean I do. Yeah.
What you got, Ro?
Oh, I thought Chris was about to go. Chris said, nope, he holding it. I think societal expectations are grown folks' peer pressure, where sometimes, and that's why I'm glad I don't have any little kids, because little kids, I want this, I want that, because they see their friends having it. They see their friends wearing $300 shoes that they walking on the back of and all that other stuff. And I know it would drive me crazy. So I think where I am now in life is different from if I were younger with younger children. But even your spouse, they can be the same way. Where I see Brenda, she down the street, she just got the new Lexus. Like, okay, Brenda don't live at this house. So that sometimes it can make you, I don't have a problem being the bad guy. And if the bad guy means that I got to be the one saying no, I ain't got no problem with it. No, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep peacefully, just like I took some ZQL or something. But so societal expectations, I think people that lead with that are already, I don't want to say it because it sounds bad. It sounds like I'm taking a jab, but you're already weak minded. You're already in a place where everybody else's expectations of you dictate how you move. So you're already in a position of weakness because what they do or what they say influence how you run your house. And I think that sucks for you, because I'm not that person that's going to say, okay, well, we got to get a new car because it's 2023 and 24 about to come. No, that's not how we roll over here, because I'm looking at the long game, not just next week.
I'm going to piggyback off of Tawame, and I'm speaking as a man. We're always supposed to be fighting, no matter what. Like, we're not allowed to rest. You understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to take everything from everywhere and just take it. You understand what I'm saying? So that in itself can kind of keep you from creating such a space, because you're constantly in fight mode. Like, nobody ever told you to sit down and chill out, breathe. Nobody ever told you to just listen. I have seen men just sit in their cars for hours at a time after they get off of work, just to have a semblance of, okay, I am alone, I can gather my thoughts, and I can think. You understand what I'm saying? All because we leave one fight and go to another one, or we expect another fight. And that's another thing. It's like we expect this. It's like we're not allowed to just chill. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. And I think that men and women handle things differently, because men, like you say, we'll sit in the car, we'll drive around the block 7 times. We'll go to the store. We'll stop at the bar. We'll go shoot some pool. Women go come home and talk your doggone ear off. And I think they are. And I said something about it facetiously on a TikTok or something yesterday, because I was saying that men really don't care about what goes on with them people at work. We just listen to keep the peace. We just listening because that's what you want to do. You want to do that little dump on us, and we don't care about it because we really don't. We don't care that Brenda did this and said this to such and such, because to us it all sounds petty, sound like y'all cackling, and then the men be saying, "Well, I'm glad I don't work with y'all," because, and as a military man, in my head, I know if I hear something like that, I'm like, "Oh, I'll get that in order real quick," because I'm thinking y'all doing some petty stuff amongst each other and y'all grown and acting like that. And but we just listen and shut up. But when we come home, you don't hear a man coming home talking about work. Well, Tawami was at work and man, he had on these pants. Ain't gonna happen. Whatever happened with Tawami gonna stay at work until I see him tomorrow.
I would say, and I can appreciate everything that everybody says, but to this question, how? Because you submit yourself to it. Like, why do you even care what society's expectations are? Why do you even listening to society's expectation? I mean, society ain't paying my bills. Society ain't up in here cooking no food. They ain't cleaning no, they ain't washing no dishes, no none of that stuff. So I think when it comes down to the how, like I agree with everything that you guys are saying, but that's way too far down the road for me. Like I'm just gonna pull myself out of it, right? Because and recognize that I don't have to submit myself to society's expectation. So I don't care what another person's impression is about what I am supposed to be doing. Good on you. I'm happy to hear that that's what you think I'm supposed to be doing. But guess what I'm gonna do? What I'm supposed to be doing, what I know that I'm supposed to be doing. And I think that's the answer for me.
I don't disagree, Coach. I just want to put that out there first. But where the problem for me lies is when the way society operates concerning men are based upon their expectations, right? And so that so that to me that slightly changes the narrative in some cases. Because like you're right, I don't care what society says. I don't live based upon what society says, but I know that, for instance, my wife say, "Hey, babe, can you pick up the kids? I gotta work late." And I go, "Yeah," and I'll tell the supervisor, "Hey, is it all right if I leave like 5-10 minutes early? Go pick up the kids, right? Don't need to leave early, but I'm just asking so I can beat the traffic, whatever the case may be, and get the kids home." And I know somebody gonna beat this up in the replay probably, but if let's say two of my female coworkers got to go get their kids. See, society expectation is that they get to go get their kids. Well, we can't be shortchanged. So, like, hey, all three of us got kids, But the idea is, no, you just sit here and you keep working because you're a father. They're
Make it
mothers,
work.
so we'll let them go get the kids, and you just figure it out once you get finished doing everything extra, because we can't lose the manpower. And so, as a man, you just expected to sit there and go, "Okay, yes, kind sir."
Yes or
You
no?
know,
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I got to get my kids.
I'm leaving.
Me letting you know that I'm going to get my kids is a formality.
Right.
You can say no all you want to, but say that as I go put this key in that black truck. I'm leaving. And that's why and I appreciate you saying that, but that's why I say that. Like societal expectation has no bearing on me. I could care less. Like let's just be completely transparent. You want to fire me because I'm going to pick up my kid? Good luck, because two things about to happen. I'm going to get me a lawyer and I'm going to draw unemployment. Both happening because we fixing to work this out. But I'm gonna get the unemployment check at the same time while we figure this out with my lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? And I may not have a case, but God doggone it, we're gonna figure it out. And my lawyer gonna tell me, say, we ain't nothing we can do. Okay, cool. But we gonna talk about it via the law. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm going back to my point because trust me, I have never asked permission from anybody to go pick up my kids. I'll be right back. That's what I would tell my supervisor. That's it. I'm not asking you, can I go? I'm telling you I'm leaving.
Me saying something is just being nice about it.
Right.
You're not about to keep me from fulfilling my fatherly obligation because you got a power thing you dealing with. Get out my face. Go manage something and leave me alone while I go pick my kids up.
But we've
I'm
all,
sorry.
but we've all seen that, especially in the military. When a man says, "Hey, I got to go get my kids," a male soldier, what's normally Big Sergeant response? Where's your wife?
I was,
Female
I
soldier
was,
say, "I got to go get my kids."
I
What
was Big
sergeant come up?
Sarge. I ain't never asked that.
Listen,
Hey,
listen.
you the
My
only Big
question,
Sergeant I know.
but see, my next question to him is, if I'm telling you I gotta go pick up my kids, then that means my wife
Hey
is
soldier, hey
already.
soldier, hey soldier, hey soldier. I
You
already
understand what
told
I'm
you the
saying?
answer. That's how I give. That's, and I'm not saying every NCO is like that, but that is a large reality, you know. And the military is just an easy explanation for me because
Right.
we spend our whole adulthood life doing that, you know. I didn't do that. I did do that to cut you off, Chris, but on purpose because that's really what happens to a lot of soldiers, especially a lot of male soldiers. Hey. So I already answered. Check Raj, drive on.
All right. I'm going to get my kids. I'll check you later. My kids are more important than any position. I don't care, military, regular, civilian. I don't care. I'm going to get my kids. Get out my face. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be behind this desk right now. You would be going to get yours. Shut up.
Christmas response tonight. Shut up. All right. so so we're moving on to the next question. Let me make sure everybody got it. Okay. In what ways do external pressures such as work stress, family responsibilities, or external relationships interfere with your ability to cultivate a peaceful environment?
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I didn't even. I was unmuted. Cultivate a peaceful environment. I think if you allow these things, and that's where the maturity levels come in, when you allow outside interferences, whether it be external pressures, work stress, the most important thing to work on is always going to be self. Because as long as I'm working on self, external pressures, work pressures, family responsibilities, all of that comes at a minimum cost. Uh, I don't know, external relationships, is that like friends? Or is that saying like if your girlfriend tripping with your wife? I'm just kidding. I got to pick. But
I think Coach's answer would be yes.
Hey, if that's how you see it, bro, run with it.
no, but I think that's one of those things where maturity comes in, and those who aren't necessarily mature will allow these things to impact their home life, their peaceful environment, their inner peace, their synergy, more than those of us who are mature enough to say, okay, like, because we used to have first signs that barked, and more they bark, I'm like, Roger first sign, like, I'm not letting you get under my skin because I don't care about people talking loud. I don't care about the outside interferences because I'm already contemplating what I'm doing next and how I'm going to fix whatever. So I'm not letting you move me from here to there simply because it's moving you.
I think the major thing is that none of us were taught how to process and let things go. That's where I'll start. We were never taught how to process things and understand that what is happening outside of you has something to do with you, but it kind of doesn't have anything to do with you, if that makes any sense. You see what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, we play a part in a lot of this stuff, but a huge percentage of it has absolutely nothing to do with us. And a lot of us haven't come to that realization. You know what I'm saying? We see all of these stresses and we internalize it and then it just festers instead of just saying, all right, this is what happened. This is what happened. This is the outcome. I can't change it. let it go. We haven't been taught how to do that.
In this specific question, I just had to read it again while y'all was talking. Thank y'all for giving me a chance to read 3 times. Because I saw something in there that just stood out to me. So, because I'm gonna be that one that said this is what a man is supposed to do, right? Just for a quick moment. Family responsibilities is a part of relieving my stress. When my family is taken care of, I have less stress. You know, the job. Here's the thing: the job can only stress me out because the only reason why I got the job is so I can take care of the family. So sometimes I get frustrated when things really get under my skin and I want to handle it a certain way, but I can't because in the back of my mind is them kids got to eat. You know, so for me, the family responsibilities is a part of my peace, right? So that doesn't affect my ability to cultivate a peaceful environment because I think taking care of that stuff helps cultivate a peaceful environment. And if you married, I don't mean to single out, but if you're married to a black woman, not take care of your family and see what kind of peace you got in that house. You're gonna have chaos all day. And being jokefully, but for real, they, they ain't gonna let you slip concerning them and the kids, right? So sometimes those external things come into play because my focus is on my family. Hey, don't interfere with this because I got to get this done. Don't try to knock me off like my brother used the word the other. Don't not try to knock me off my square because I got things to take care of. And as long as and the reason why I do this is so that they can eat. And so when you affect this, it affects that. So that's how I look at when it comes to family responsibilities and external relationships. To be honest with you, if we're talking about spouse, like Chris say, I sit in that driveway for an extra 10 minutes sometimes. And it's not because my wife get on my nerves, but I know my responsibility, if she's home before me, go upstairs, kiss them babies, play with my son, and ask my wife how her day is. Like, I may not want to do it, but that's what I'm going to do. And so I have to be ready to have a listening ear for her to tell me how I did, because that may be short or it may be long, depending on the kind of day she had. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of that responsibility. So not always does it play a part? Because I'll take that extra ride around the block. I'll sit in the driveway for a second, and then after she pulls it on about a day, I go outside and sit on the porch for a few minutes. Like, so that to me, those things don't interfere with my ability to cultivate a peaceful environment, specifically these things. I believe, if I understand it right.
I'm with you on that piece, Gaddy. And it's very few people, family wise, that has the ability to um, kind of get me a little anxious. Very few, right? If I was married, of course, my spouse, obviously my mom, because she lives alone. And I have a few aunts and uncles that I am ultra conservative when it comes down to them as well. Um, Cousin, like I got a cousin, she's like my sister. Like, no, she is my sister. So again, those people, right? Um, but then you go a little further outside of them, you have family members there. Like, I would be concerned, but I won't experience anxiety when they're going through a thing. Then you go a little further outside of them. I would be curious, but I won't be concerned. So based upon the relationship, it kind of equates to how I respond. Work has a purpose. That's it. Right? Work is not who I am. And I've said that so many times before. Like, regardless of what my title is at work, that is not my identity. So, in essence, work stress, if I am experiencing work stress, it's only because I want to do a good job for the sake of who I am. not so much as me trying to impress anybody at work, whatever that looks like. External relationships, it depends. These to me, I'm just going to use these right here. These are external relationships. I will award an external relationship a conversation, right? Again, going back to this question, I will award the external relationship the conversation, and I will talk about it exactly the way it is. However, once I have the conversation and then you try to maneuver around the conversation that we just had, then I create space because you are showing me who you are based upon something other than what I knew, right? So if I'm telling Roland, hey man, I don't like it when I don't know you pick your nose on camera. He doesn't, but I'm just saying you pick your nose on camera. I don't like it, right? And so he's like, okay, oh my bad. Well, that's an acknowledgement of what I actually said. No issue, no harm, no foul. But then he comes back to camera, pick his nose again. Hey man, what's happening? Well, see, my nose was itching, and see, I needed to scratch it, and you know what? Hit the button, man. Get off camera and pick your nose. You see what I'm saying? So now it's a different type of conversation. But the second conversation is my choice. You understand what I'm saying? The first conversation is out of responsibility of the relationship. The second conversation is my choice because here's what I do know: if Roland picked his nose the second time on camera, he knew he picked his nose. Guarantee you did, unless it's just one of those freaky habits that he got. You know what I'm saying? But he know he did it. So that's how I look at it. And so when it comes down to these particular things, right? You look at work stress, it's more so of me. Family's responsibility, right? That's more so based upon the connection between family and I will also go a step further that blood does not always define family, right? So I'll say that as well. And then when it comes down to external relationships, well, those external relationships will present themselves at the level of the way that we behave in that relationship. If we behave in such a way that we value the relationship, therefore both parties are valued in the relationship, then the relationship is going to be a healthy relationship. But when we behave in such a way that value is not being extended now it requires us to have a conversation because we're presenting something outside of our original agreement. Well, funny, this actually sounds like relationship now because it is relationship is relationship, right? We confuse it a lot. We like to parse it, say, oh, well, this is different. Oh, well, this is different. Oh, no, because at the end of the day, you exist in relationship based upon your identity, not because your assumption or not because some bad teaching that you were taught in prior years based upon weapons of mass instruction. And that's kind of like how that works. So that's my response to this question. Roland, I don't know if you responded. Somebody, I think somebody, Roland or Chris, one of you guys.
No, I already went. I already
Okay.
said
All right.
something.
Very well. And I think that was the answer to Brother Barrow's question. That was my response to his question. You guys kind of want to jump on that, or you guys good, or your thoughts?
How can you resolve outside interference? One, you say something. After that, if that interference is still there, you remove yourself. You have to love yourself enough to say, hey man, I ain't got to deal with this. You need a level 2 when dealing with me. I don't have to deal with you. You understand what I'm saying? I just asked you not to do this and you still doing it. So you showing me that you really don't care. Take the L. I'm leaving. Friend, family, work, don't matter. You got to love yourself enough to understand what you will and won't put up with and stick to it. Because there are going to be people in your life that push your boundaries just because they think that they can because of the position that they hold, or they just want to test you to see if you really the person that you say you are. Love yourself enough to say, hey man, I don't have to deal with this and I don't have to deal with you. Get on my face. It may
Not
hurt, it may suck, and to keep it real, it might be somebody that you really, really close to, and it may even seem borderline disrespectful, but you have to preserve you. You understand what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
I think being honest. I think you should be honest with yourself and be honest with. Some people try to skirt around being honest with people's feelings, skirt around people's feelings and all this other stuff. So then when outside interferences think that you're supposed to move left and you move right, you feel guilty. But I think if you're always upfront, always honest, and like, and I tell people, I don't dance unless I hear music. I'm not about to sit up there and do something just to go along. I'm not that type of person because then people have expectations of you, whereas you don't necessarily want to do it. Then they're like, well, you did it before. Well, I didn't like it then. Like I'm like Dwayne, where I cannot be around like people chewing. I can't take it. It's a mental thing. I can't take it. But instead of me arguing, stop chewing, and all this other stuff, I'll remove myself first because it's something that you commonly do, apparently. So I'm just gonna remove myself so you can be comfortable. But when we're talking outside resolving, if something's already going on, you got to speak up. You when you speak up, not in a harsh way or anything like that, but say, hey, especially when it's the treatment of you or something that you care about, when you say, hey, I don't like the way you did this. I'm not being nasty. I'm just telling you what I don't want to accept and I won't accept any longer. If you have a problem with it, that means you have a problem with our relationship. That lets me know, cool, I can move differently. I have no problem moving differently, but I think being open and honest and upfront and allowing that other person to be open, honest, and upfront will alleviate any type of friction because you already know what uh what burns your uh hind parts of your gears.
Man, I'm gonna use hyperbole for the first 10 seconds, right? I'm coming close to 40. I ain't 40. And one of us on here only got a couple of more seconds in their 40s. All right. So I'm using hyperboles when I say everybody here is in their 40s. And in your 40s, I'm pretty sure all my brothers on here wish that at your age, Christian, we all learned how to choose our relationships better. And so at your age, I would say learn how to choose your relationships wisely, whether it's girlfriend, whether it's homeboys, whether it's business partners, whatever it is, study mates, whatever you got going on. Learn to choose them wisely. You have less outside interference when it comes to you being able to cultivate. Because let's just be honest, no one is going to have 100% peace in life. When you walk out your door, you can no longer control the environment. So let's just live. We got to live in reality when you say that. When you think there. So once you leave that door, you have if you live in Killeen, Texas, I can guarantee you this: the moment you turn your ignition on, you know that you are in a life or death situation. Because these jokers, they look for people to hit. I swear, you could tell me I'm lying. Anybody who drives through Killeen knows it is a life or death situation to drive in the city. But guess what? I can't control how they drive. So for me to assume that I can is not reality. But I can control how I defensively drive. So I can avoid certain interactions. Some of them you can't. But that's just that's life. And so for me, I look at it as what I need now is after I walked outside that door and all hell is broken loose. When I get back home at the end of the day, I just want to, at least for 5 minutes, just let me relax. Let me gather myself and then let me go. Then I go do my thing. And so I just say, learn how to choose your relationships wisely while you still young, man.
So let me add a little hot sauce to the gumbo here. So I think pretty much everybody said have the conversation, right? And the conversation was had, and then said act that you guys talked about previously happened again. And they said, oh, my bad, that was a mistake.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I always say this, man. You should not have to tell a grown person something more than once. It should stick. The first time is a mistake. And that's why I'm saying something to you, because you might not have known, because I might not have verbalized it and you did not know it was a mistake. The second time you do it, there has to be something in the back of your brain that says, all right, I'm about to do this, but he already said something about this. Let me try it again. And that's when I curse you out. You understand what I'm saying? That's when the angry guy comes out, because I told you this, and you pushing a boundary that you really don't even have to, because I already told you this is how I feel about this. Don't just blatantly disrespect me just because you think that you can. No, get out my face. Take the L.
When you cuss them out, you went outside of peace, bro. What you got, man? What you got?
I'm just picturing Chris in a pink Cadillac with a black and pink suit with a Jerry curl saying, "Say what again?" You know, that's Pinky right there.
See?
He ready to go in.
Bro, that's what
I'm
I
not
was
that bad, man.
man.
I'm not that bad, man. I'm just the conversation is about peace. And you're talking to a man who had a distorted view of it, because I was under the impression that peace meant accepting abuse. And I'm in my 40s. I'm not accepting no more abuse no more. You get one time. The second time, I'm going to say something. You get one time, and then I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of grace while I'm talking to you, because like I said earlier, you might not know. But the second time, there will not be a third, because the second time is a choice.
I'm not going to stoop to the cussing out, because that's taking me out of my peace. So what I'm going to do is remove myself, and that makes it to
take
where
the L.
I remove myself, like, okay, no problem. I appreciate you. I'll let you. I'm going over here. Because when I want to do that, because now what I'm doing is, if I'm cussing at a grown up gonna cuss back. Now it's confrontation. Now I'm all out of peace. And this is straight up, I think Dwayne mentioned it earlier, this is war. So now it's a battle. And like, hold up, I could have just battled my tail to my car. Because that's why I drive myself places. I ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody picking me up. Drive myself. If I want to leave, I'm out.
What you got, Gary?
Hey, y'all saw me. I threw the black signal. I mean the bat signal. Threw that header. Nah, but real talk. I think at that moment you're looking for hostility. If we're talking about at Christian's age, and why do I say that though? Because at our age, right? We all at different ages, but at our ages, there's some behaviors that are learned behaviors that are habitual, because we just been doing it our whole life. We just been talking like that. Like, I know some people that's 50 something years old that chew with their mouth open. If I saw Roland attempting to befriend him, I'm like, hey, Roland, no, don't do it, because the first time y'all eat dinner together, it's over.
Cooties.
I don't put that Baptist finger up.
Hey, but can you tell that 50-something-year-old man to close his mouth when he chew? You can say it, but he's probably going to do it again, and it's not necessarily because he's trying to be disrespectful. It's because nobody told him he don't live in a barn, you know. So I'm not saying right, wrong, and different, but it's at our ages, sometimes we deal with people who they just operate on the other side of boundaries, and for me, that's where I choose my relationships wisely. Oh, you operate that way. I can't operate like that. We can't go no further. We can stop right here. Because I'm only hurting me continuing in that situation. So you did it once. I addressed it. You did it again. All right. If I'm assuming you did it on purpose, we have a problem. But if you just can't help yourself but to do that, then that's my boundary, and I can't force my boundary on your personality, I could just separate myself. I can set my boundaries, but I can't force you to behave the way I want you to behave. So that's it. We good. I holler.
Yeah, that sounds the same to me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Either way, it's a boundary, and the boundary got crossed. At the end of the day, like I think it was Roland. Roland says, consequences and repercussions. Right. At the end of the day, we have the conversation. Then we come back after the conversation had. There should be an understanding of said boundary, or boundary has been addressed, and then from there, right? If boundary is crossed again, boundary still exists. The boundary ain't moved, right? It just created some space between you and the boundary. I will say it like this: there is no such thing as a mistake. I think that is probably one of the biggest lies that has ever been told. Even if you look in a dictionary, the dictionary would tell you that it is a decision that is made, and then at the point to which it yielded an unexpected outcome, then it becomes a mistake. No, it was a decision. That's what it was. And I think a lot of times what people need to do is own up to the fact of that it was a decision and stop using words like mistakes. Words like mistakes means lack of accountability. That's just it. So when we start using those, what we're doing is trying to soften the blow of said thing because I don't want you to hold me accountable for said action.
And things as petty as eating and chewing with your mouth open, those are just that's their normal behavior. So sometimes like when I go to my daughter's house, everybody in the house chew like they in the barn, except my daughter. My two grandkids over there, her husband, all of them just. I'm like, I'll be back. I don't come around because it bothers me. But I'm not gonna sit up there and think they just doing this. And I can't. I told you that bothers me because they are naturally being themselves. So I can't fault them for that. But if it's something that like it was somebody who was telling a story where they I was on somebody's TikTok, and the girl got on there talking about she went out with her cousin's wife, and the cousin's wife seemed like she was hooking up with another dude while she was there. And it's like, hold up, hey, I'll let you know, hey, you ain't gonna roll like that around me. Now, if you want to roll like that, don't invite me around. If that's what you're doing, because it looks like this. I don't necessarily know. You can tell me that the rain is falling upside down, whatever, don't matter. But I don't like this behavior. So if you're going to continue to do this around me, that's different than your eating habits and such, because now you are choosing to do this. So it's not a mistake. You're choosing to do this knowing that I don't like it.
There it is. All right. As always, this brings us to our bittersweet moment, our final thoughts. Again, I want you guys, if you're on YouTube, I try to make sure now I'm doing this more frequently. I am leaving you a free gift in the chat. So if you're on YouTube, look at the top of your screen. You will see a pin link up there that says free gift. By all means, it's yours. Jump on it, have at it, enjoy it. I've been told that it's actually pretty good. So again, and I will continue to do those periodically. I change them up as well. So I'm running that one for a couple of weeks. That way I give more people the opportunity to partake of it. So again, that brings us to where we are, our final thoughts. And then we're going to start off with our young brother, Mr. Chris. Shut up.
My final thought is simple, man. Peace is something that is cultivated from within. And your peace has to be so important to you because you need it. It is a vital thing that you need to actually go out into the world and actually like survive, that you must protect it at all costs, no matter what, no matter who, no matter when. You cannot allow anyone to disturb your peace, because if they disturb your peace, then they can disturb other areas in your life. And that disturbance of your peace can kind of trickle down into other areas in your life. Protect your peace at all costs. Find out what it looks like first. And once you figure out what it looks like, hold on to it and do not let anyone or anything disturb it. That's my final thought.
Man, I want to I want to preference by saying this. I don't believe that this was men complaining or crying, or what it was awareness to the reality that men as well need to decompress. Because sometimes that seems as if it's a forgotten idea in our society. Right? We come home and we let our wives talk. That's how they decompress. We let them talk, but we decompress in other ways, right? Not to be mistaken, like was pointed out, with the peace of the Most High. That's internal, that no one can take, right? That's the engine that keeps you driving. But your mental health is very important in order for you to continue in any walk, whether it's on your job, whether it's spiritual, whether it's relationships, whether it's business. Your mental health is important, and we often forget that men have mental health issues as well, and that is what this is talking about. So I don't want it to get lost in context, or because the word. And we have to recognize, and men, you have to recognize that you have mental health issues that you have to deal with. So take your time, find your space, decompress. Don't allow no one to steal that opportunity from you.
Be honest with yourself. Make sure that you're honest with other people so that you aren't t- bottling things up, holding things in. Because when you do that, then when something just sets you over the top, then you blow up. And then they looking at like, what's wrong with you? No, what's wrong with me is I've been telling you this. So you got to make sure when you tell someone something, I give you two chances. Other than that, I got to remove myself. I got to remove myself out of whatever the environment is that's creating a sense of agitation in me, because the more agitated I get, the more it messes with me, and you're unbothered. So if you're unbothered and you see something that's bothering me, and you know, because I've told you time and time again, I know there are limitations to our relationship. So as a man, since we do struggle with things internally and sometimes we do bottle them up, find yourselves men not to just vent to, but to talk to. And sometimes you can't talk to your spouse about everything, because sometimes you want to talk to somebody about her. So find yourself some where you can just run it off and they can just listen and not try to fix you, because we don't want to be fixed. Sometimes we just want to download. We just want to dump. And then we go on about our business. And the more we talk about our problems, the more we see, the more I talk about it, I'm the one fixing it. I'm the one controlling the narrative of it. So I'm not worried about how I look. I am trying to fix me and have a source of peace where I can still look myself in the mirror and say, at the end of the day, I know I've done my part and I'm mature in this area, so I can go on and hold my head high.
I definitely appreciate everybody's perspective. And I hope that we were able to add value to everybody who listened to this as we talked about it. I think it is important for everybody to um, understand peace. Not only understand peace, but make peace a thing that you obtain. And then when you obtain it, you make it an uncompromisable feat when it comes down to your life. In other words, you don't ever compromise peace for someone else. Never. I'm going to say it again. Never. That's important for you to understand. You have to be consciously aware, because sometimes people will decide, not make mistakes, they decide to go against your peace. Well, when they decide, they actually cut off all other options and make that the option that they go after. And that option they know is one that you're not going to like. If you stay in that thing without a awareness to where the person comes back and actively apologize for their behavior, right? If you stay in it, then you just participated in a brand new norm being set. I think that's something to understand. Here's another thing I want to add to this whole conversation. It's not just because I know, and I know we talked about it. It's not just men and women disturbing men peace. It's men disturbing women peace as well. It's women disturbing women peace as well. It's men disturbing men peace as well. No one is exempt in the space of relationship. We need to have a better understanding of what relationship looks like, and we need to have a better understanding of where we exist in the space of relationship. Relationship is always the most important person in the relationship. Until we grasp that, then we're always going to be caught up in a situation to where either we do a thing or somebody else does a thing, and then we'll turn around and immediately try to render ourselves innocent simply because I have to protect me at all costs. That is low vibrational and will always yield in the worst case scenario. So that's my thoughts on that one. Again, a great conversation as always, gentlemen. And again, for those of you who are with us, again, look if you're on YouTube, look under the window, identify the join button, and join the Empowering Perspective membership program. Because again, we take topics like this, dissect it, and create a process to changing the behavior that exists in that thing. So that puts us exactly at our point for this Friday evening. Again, college football season started. So if you ain't on it, you ain't on it. Hopefully you don't have Spectrum because you might end up being like Plies and cussing Spectrum out. But listen, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Go watch some college football tomorrow. Next week, we got, I think we're going to do 2 membership program show. We got another Friday show and then a Saturday Diamond Club show. So next week's going to be a packed week. So make sure you got your notebooks and your pens ready. Listen, you guys have a great rest of your evening and have a better weekend. And we will see you next week, same time, same place.